Hello, my name is Isolde Honore, and among being an Odd Salon fellow and producer, I am also a weird animal fact enthusiast. So Annetta actually proposed this topic and asked, "Ooh, pigs! I want to talk about that." So it's been a very fun ride into research for that. So I am here to give you a brief history of the most celebrated learned pig. Allow me to introduce to you of the crowds who the sapient Toby have seen, not one of them all disappointed have been, but all their friends have been proud to repeat that a visit to Toby indeed is a treat. So this particular porcine celebrity was Toby the Sapient Pig, the greatest curiosity of the present day. The present day being 1817. So this pig was an accomplished showman and scholar, and I will share some of his feats with you, and just check out how his playbill was written. The most extraordinary creature will spell and read, count accounts, play at cards, tell any person what o'clock it is to a minute by their own watch. Also tell the age of anyone in company, and what is more astonishing, he will discover a person's thoughts, a thing never heard of before to be exhibited by an animal of the swine race. The performance of this truly surprising creature must be seen to be believed. Admittance, one shilling. So again, I will come back to Toby, but really Toby was one of a long line in the Learned Pig Act. So I do want to give you a history of the Learned Pig Act and how it led to Toby and his magnificence. So let's start with the original pig from about 1780. So to give you a little context, this is the Georgian-era. At the end of the 80s, reasons people were embracing science, philosophy, enlightenment. Mozart was publishing at a great clip. So this is really a time of like really refined artistic pursuits. Enter this guy. So Scotsman Samuel Bissett in 1780 debuted a completely novel sideshow in Dublin. He engineered an act where a pig was trained to be able to retrieve cards and thus seem to answer audience questions. Now, sideshows claiming intellectual animals were nothing new. Trick horses, also known as thinking horses or horses of knowledge, had been around for about a century before this. But never a pig. And the learned pig was so revolutionary because of the negative connotations surrounding pigs. They're seen as, and they still are, they're seen as obstinate, stupid, dirty, lazy. I mean, let's look at art depicting animals of the time. So on the left, you got your fancy animal. Of course, horses are noble, they're elite, they're expensive, and people question their intelligence. And of course, a thinking horse can answer questions. Why wouldn't it be? On the other hand, on the right, you got your meat balloon. According to reasoning at the time, pigs were exceedingly common. And I think this in the classist English sense of the word, that they're vulgar, they're low, they're inferior. You may not be wealthy enough to be buying to eat one, but everyone's got a parent in the backyard who produce lots of food regarding. But the learned pig was about to challenge this notion. So Samuel Bissett had modest success touring his pig around Ireland, but in 1784, Samuel Bissett bit it in a bar brawl, and the act and the learned pig was taken over by a magician, John Nicholson. There are no pictures of these people. This is stock Georgian imagery. So John Nicholson, he refined the act. He was a magician. He had some know-how. So he again tweaked it, and he brought the act to Nottingham in 1784, and then in London. Then brought it to London in 1785. So let's look at the playbill for the 1785 learned pig. It will sound very familiar. This entertaining and sagacious animal casts accounts by means of typographical cards, and by the same method sets down any capital or surname, reckons number of people present, tells by evoking on a gentleman's watch and company what is the hour and minutes. He will likewise tell any lady's thoughts in company and distinguishes all sorts of colors. So again, this completely upends the understanding of pigs. It is the only lowly, common animal capable, I just read it, but again, it spells, it counts, it tells time, it reads people's minds, and tells colors. So The Learned Pig was an astonishing success, and London audiences were delighted by the spectacle. Here is the wonderful pig from circa 1785, and the placard in the back says, the surprising pig, well versed in all languages, perfect arithmetician, mathematician, and composer of music. So this learned pig, they were really trained to do marvelous and sort of intellectual feats. And most people found this astonishingly delightful. However, there were a fair share of critics as well who thought that this kind of lowbrow sideshow entertainment just ruined everything in culture. In fact, you could say that there was a fair amount of pearl clutching before swine. That's my only point. So let me present to you another print from about this time, 1784's The Downfall of Taste and Genius, or As the World Goes. Now there's a lot of symbolism happening here, so I'm going to break down some of the relevant bits to you. So let's zoom in a little bit. On the left, we have Discord and her snake who has stolen and smashed Truth's mirror. Nature has been perverted and has a stylish wig from the time and 6 breasts for some reason. The allegorical figures of sculpture, painting, and music, as well as the works of William Shakespeare and Alexander Pope, are all being trampled by a horde of charlatans and trained animals with, at the center, the learned pig leading the charge. So whether people were delighted by this and just chose to be entertained, chose joy and whimsy, or chose to frown on it and deride this kind of entertainment, the learned pig became widespread. Throughout the 1780s, other stage shows began training pigs and doing these mind-reading tricks and these sort of stock elements of the act. And in about the 1790s, learned pigs came to the troublesome colonies, so there's some delightful American learned pigs as well. But this concept of the learned pig became very widespread and recognized culturally. So you have poems, literature, stories, newspapers at the time who start referring to learned pigs, and people kind of just knew what that was, and knew the kind of intellectual feats demonstrated. So this learned pig motif was very well used to lampoon people as well. So the learned pig kind of meant a juxtaposition between the highbrow, the lowbrow, a contrast between gross physicality and superior intellectuality. So here we have a cartoon that shows Prime Minister William Pitt, here depicted as a learned pig, mocked in the style of a playbill. So, walk in, gentlemen, how to save your bacon. The learned pig will show the most surprising feats of knowledge. He will, amongst many other curious specimens of his art, explain many passages in the cavalry and other late acts of Parliament, the like before having never been attempted in these our realms. Humor. So, for over 3 decades, Learned Pig was a popular but still kind of lowbrow entertainment. It's something you'd see at a county fair and tell your friends about. And then Toby came along. So in 1817, the act was similar, but things changed. So what set Toby apart? Well, for one thing, he had an autobiography. Yes, for just 1 shilling, you can read Toby's maiden essay in literature. It is an absolutely charming work, and it's a tongue-in-cheek, and also it's just a total piece of marketing for the Learned Pig app. It's publicly sold by Toby's stage manager, and he shares some delightful anecdotes, like how while his mother was pregnant with him, she, a lowly pig, wandered into a gentleman's library and ate it all, and thus that's how he got his extraordinary intelligence. he also explained the origin of his name. Now, this is the first named learned pig. So he mentioned in his autobiography that his trainer was contemplating a famous soliloquy. To be or not to be, he involuntarily used these words when addressing me. The idea was such that it determined him as my name, and hence was derived its origin, TSP. Now, I heard some well-qualified grounds, so tell me, what is that quote from? Well, what Shakespeare? 200 years and it's still fucking funny! I think so, anyway. So, this distinguishes Toby from the herd. It gives him a celebrity status. It's not just, oh, have you seen a learned pig, but have you seen the learned pig? It was Toby, the sapient pig. And seeing Toby became sort of a bragging right. Toby became a fixture at London's Bartholomew Fair, where he demonstrated geography, arithmetic, spelling, telling time, and more wonderful feats of swinish intelligence. And people joked that the most famous actor in London, Edmund Kean, had about the same draw as Toby the pig. And a couple of other cheap hotshots. This was not the only comparison. These comparisons came up all over in reviews, but Toby was also compared to celebrities and bodies of work of Lord Francis Bacon and poet James Hogg. It's still funny. Now, again, this really revolutionizes how people think of and perceive of pigs, and I mean they're remarkably intelligent animals. And audiences all over clamored to see this, Toby, the celebrity pig. Now, after his debut, his success is a little hard to follow because Toby became sort of the default name for the Learned Pig Act. So all learned pigs kind of became Toby, the Sapient Pig, and was very widespread and popular. Now, whether this was schlocky sideshow or high art, who cares? It was delightful. And this amazing pig was immortalized in culture, in art, and in song. And now I'm going to do something the like of which I've never before done on the Odd Salon stage. The lyrics were very kindly provided by Toby's autobiography. And this is sort of the folk song that it was set to in 1817. Oh, all that the world ever brought to light, the most wonderful, sirs, is the subject I write. Pythagoreans now are bound to retain their philosopher's right, as Toby proves plain. Their philosopher's right, as Toby proves plain. The mania for actors is now all the rage, and therefore my actor is brought on the stage. For though he's not swallowed, will Shakespeare quite, yet on his own text he can throw a new light. Yet on his own text he can throw a new light. His Laurent's Catalanian far surpasses, and then he's so learned in all learning's classes that lawyers and proctors and statesmen allow at the bar and senate he'll borrow his brow. At the bar and senate he'll borrow his brow. Then all who with wonder would wish to surprise their senses and feelings and marvel their eyes, no longer lose time as it has now all gained, but go and see Toby the rare sapient pig. But go and see Toby the rare sapient pig. Thank you all so much for coming out and celebrating novelty, sideshows, education, entertainment. And I'd like to toast to Toby and all the Grunting Philosophers for showcasing porcine perspicacity. Thank you so much.